everybody. You're listening to the Big Chill Podcast. This is episode 602, Ascot, Ashes, and AI. Hello, Big Chillians. Welcome back to the Big Chill Podcast. I'm Frank, joined as always with Eddie. Eddie, it's been a while, although I've seen you a lot.
Yeah, again, every podcast episode in recent weeks has started with "It's been a while." But yes, it has been a while since we released an episode, and we will, encouragement for the listeners, get back onto our regular pattern now that the summer traveling will be a little bit more stable. But yeah,
Maybe
we've seen, but we can still work around that. We've seen quite a lot of each other, but we have not recorded a podcast episode.
I know. Unfortunately, we did not record in person. I thought there was one night we were going to come back and do it, and I was very excited. But then I just fell asleep.
Yeah. You fell
and
asleep
that wasn't watching the Tour de France show.
It was. But no, it was good. Yeah, it was good though. We got to see, Royal Ascot, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a bit more detail. But a couple of days of Royal Ascot plus a record-breaking T20 in the Vitality Blast. Between Surrey and Middlesex. So we got a good, a little bit of experience of some great sport. One of the most difficult Royal Ascots of all time, I would say. I don't know if you want to start there.
Well, I was going to say, I think maybe we just dismiss this Royal Ascot, don't talk about it, and bring about the bad memories.
Do you want me to depress you, though, slightly? Before we move on, I guess not too much to discuss. I guess it was a year devoid maybe of true greatness from a horse perspective, although there's some nice performances and some horses that might go on to prove themselves. But it's not like previous years where you maybe ever had Stradivarius or Baid or something that you felt this was kind of...
I mean, you could maybe say Paddington.
And Tahira and
two-time Group 1 winner.
Yeah, Tahira. There's
Tahira, yep.
You can poke some holes in a few of the performances, though. But if you really want to depress yourself, you may not have seen this statistic. But if you had bet every single horse £1 on every horse to win based on their Betfair SPs, so literally just blind £1 on every horse, you would have finished the Royal Ascot Festival meeting up £621 and 59p.
Wow. That's insane.
Yeah, literally £1 on every horse. Betfair SP. Now, obviously, Betfair SP is a little bit different, but it's still an indication that probably even if you'd done normal SPs, you would have done okay.
Yeah.
You'd probably lose money because the Betfair SPs will be a little bit inflated, but you wouldn't have lost much money. And the thing is, some people will say, well, if you'd been strategic...
It's mostly driven by like 2 to 3 horses, though.
There was 150 to 1 winner.
And a 100 to 1, maybe? Or like an 80 to 1? Something like that.
So those are, and that's the thing on Betfair, that might have been a 200 to 1. The 150 to 1 might have been a 200 to 1. And that's the issue, is because a lot of times when you see statistics like this, you would say, well, if you bet, like, that makes sense. But if you bet strategically and kind of seen when you had heavy favorites, if you just stuck to those, you could have made even more. But I would say this time around at Royal Ascot, there was no predictability. There were times with heavy favorites when a total outsider won, and there were times with heavy favorites the heavy favorite won. So there was really, if I was being honest, I would maybe say Vauban. You maybe would have said that race, I can just stick to Vauban and hope for the best. And you could have increased your profit even more. But aside from the
Tiber River,
you would have had to have done the top 2 in the market there for sure. But even then, that's getting wise after the fact, right? Yeah. Maybe Vauban, Tahira. Those are maybe the 2 that could have stuck out as the like, all right, if these 2 don't come in, I can't justify putting £1 on the rest of the market. But everything else, there were other fairly short odd favorites that completely missed the boat. So
Yeah, I mean, in terms of betting, day 2 of Royal Ascot will definitely go down as one of my lowest days of my life. 0 for 7 is not a number you want to be ending your Royal Ascot trip with.
Look, it's almost impressive. When I was in high school, and I know I've told you this before, but on a multiple choice, we used to have a math teacher who had multiple choice said, if you can get 0, you get 100. So you needed that offer on the betting.
There we go.
Yeah.
That would have been nice. You know what? Next year, we talk to the bookies that we bet with, and we tell them not only do we want price adjustments, but if I don't win a single bet on the day, I want you to give me back 10%.
It would be interesting. It would be interesting to see if you could do like a reverse place putt. Can I pick a horse not to place in every race? And if I nail all 7 races without a single horse placing, can I win something? Because that would still be on some days kind of easy, because you'd obviously just pick pretty much the biggest outsiders in the market. But you'd still have a couple of races where it's difficult to completely rule out a horse placing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And I think what really killed me for day 2, which I knew it was going to be a bad day, is day 1, I had done the traditional thing I do, which is at least put some stake on the American horses. Just because I kind of have to, being the American there, I'll put some money. And then day 2, the first race, there was an American horse who was about 10-1, and Racing Post had actually tipped the horse. And I had read all of that and said, no, I'm done with betting the American horses. They haven't come through now in like 2 years. I'm not going to keep throwing 10, 20 pounds on a horse and just dumping it down. And of course, the American horse won, and my horse I bet had second. And 2 different people messaged me saying, what a way to start your day, huh? And I had to tell them, go fuck yourself.
No. But ultimately, this is your issue to a certain extent with that American horse tactic, is compared to when we first started going together 8 years ago, whenever that was, 8-9 years ago, there are more American horses. And you kind of can't afford to just blind bet every American horse in the first couple of days, because that will be 6-7 horses.
Yeah.
And at best, maybe one of them wins.
Yeah.
So ultimately, you break even.
Yeah.
You're
right. But I guess in retrospect, looking back with some hindsight, I could have said the rule is don't bet Wesley Ward horses anymore.
So you're going to tell me next year you won't bet a single Wesley Ward horse? I want it recorded right now. I want to see when you've, kind of getting super excited about the sectionals at Keeneland.
You know what? Honestly, I think I will say I will not bet a Wesley Ward horse because I'll tell you what, I was very high on one of his horses that didn't even race the day that we were there. I was very, very high on that horse, and everything sounded like it had traveled well. And this is not coming from him. This was other people who were there, had seen it. It looked great. And I think it got second to last out of 18 horses. So I didn't put money on that, thankfully, but I think that solidifies until he can bring another winner in. I think I'm good holding off on Wesley Ward.
Sure.
Stamping it. Because that was a Lady Aurelia horse too. So that was like the whole, like, I got to bet it maybe because it's Lady Aurelia. And we had so much success with that horse, but no, done. Next year, no Wesley Ward bet.
I wish I had a good audio drop for future Stamp It. All I can come up with is this. And that's it. That's Wesley Ward horses. That's how we can declare them after every race. But yeah, no, it's I think it's tough though, right? Because there is going to be probably almost every Royal Ascot one Wesley Ward horse that on paper looks amazing, and he's obviously going to rave about it. So what are you going to do? There's going to be 2 things that are difficult to deal with: a Wesley Ward sprinter and an Australian sprinter. And between the 2, you're going to get how you pick which ones you bet on and which ones you dismiss. It's good luck to you.
Yeah.
Because if you bet them all, you're going to end up being a loser in the long term. But you're going to have every once in a while one that just blows the field away. And you're going to feel like an idiot for not having bet on the 5-1, 6-1 shot that looked incredible in everything it had done beforehand.
But Wesley Ward, I'm done.
Speaking of done, we're not going to talk about Live Golf. I know there were the leaked documents. You probably didn't see them. There was the leaked documents about the agreement between.
I actually have a Google notification on my phone that blocks any websites that have a Live update.
Well, you should do that with Wesley Ward horses too. You should put both of those as blocked. but one takeaway from this weekend's golf, just as a quick point of discussion, Rory McIlroy came out afterwards because he shot rounds at the TPC River Highlands this weekend. He shot a round of 68, 64, 66, and 64, and finished tied for 7th at the Travelers.
Oh, God.
And said, I don't particularly like when a tournament is like this. Unfortunately, technology has passed this course by, right? It sort of has made it obsolete, especially as soft as it is, as soft as it has been with a little bit of rain that we had. So again, like the conversations going back to, limiting the golf ball and stuff like that, when we come to courses like this, they just don't present a challenge that they used to.
And he's a little bit of a fucking complainer, eh?
Well, so he just basically said he wants golf tournaments, but he was kind of pushed further on it. He wants golf tournaments to be
2 under final.
Yeah. He wants it to be tight with no one shooting massively low scores.
Tough to make par.
John Rahm said he was kind of the opposite. John Rahm says he loves
want a 45 under winner.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think I'm in the Rory McIlroy camp.
Of course you are. If you had asked me, that would have been one of the easiest guesses of this whole podcast.
I just think it's interesting to watch a golf tournament where par is meaningful. I do think when you watch professional golf and it's like, oh shit, he only got a par, he's fucked. Like that's everyone else, especially when you're looking at some par fives where it's like, oh, he parred that par five. Like everyone else is eagling this. He's basically just lost 2 shots to the field. That to me sometimes is a little bit tough. I do prefer knowing that, especially down the stretch when you have a close bunch, thinking if this guy in the lead with 6 holes to go, if he's got a 1-shot lead, if he can just par every remaining hole, he's got a pretty good chance.
Yeah.
It's going to take something good to beat him versus he's got a 1-shot lead. He needs to shoot 4 under on the final 6 to win this tournament.
Yeah. I don't have a strong opinion one way or the other. I like watching both. I like when you see guys that are just crushing every round versus struggling to hold on. But what I would prefer is kind of like what you said in a way is I would like the final 9 or at least the final 4 holes, let's say, to be slightly more difficult holes. Because it is very annoying when you see like a player's 2 back with 4 to play and then they're playing like a drivable par 4, a par 5 that everyone's getting on at 2, and like another easy par 4 that no one bogeys. Like that's annoying when it's like he's only 2 back, but it's like, yeah, but this guy that's in front of him is probably going to get another like -3 in those 3 holes. So like it's stupid, like if you as long as the last few holes can make it interesting, whether you're 30 under or 2 under, if you can give up strokes on those final 3 holes, at least it makes it interesting.
I think that's a fair point. And this is the other challenge, though. This is the difference between designing a golf course for the regular golfer versus for a tournament with professionals. Because I think I agree with you in the sense that we could let's not have the 18th hole should never be a par 5. Like if we just made that a rule from now on, you're designing a golf course, 18 should never be a par 5. But then for a casual golfer, the 18 being a par 5 sometimes is kind of nice. Like you've had a pretty terrible round. You're, like, oh shit, I want this to be over. Oh, okay, we got a par 5 coming up. I get to get my driver out, try and rip this down the fairway. If I hit a good drive, maybe I can at least get par. Like I can end on a high. And that's the challenge. Now, I suppose you could say when you're designing a golf course, you could make it in a way that it's a par 5 for the average golfer, and for a professional tournament that switches to a par 4.
That's crazy to think.
Especially
considering the tee box is probably going to be like 50 yards further back for pros, but it's still going to be a par 4.
Yeah, but that's, I suppose, an option. But yeah, it just seems I don't know. It's tough. I think I enjoy it more when you are watching golfers struggle. I think it is more enjoyable to watch. Not because I want to see them do badly, but then because it just does makes every shot more meaningful versus guys just finding the fairway, approach shot 6 yards from the ball. Oh, he made it. Sweet. Oh, this guy missed it. That sucks.
I'll counter you with one possible reason why I don't like that, and I think you might actually agree, is it then gives the average Joe reason to believe that they are as good as the pros because, hey, I shot a 1 over yesterday, and this guy, he barely could fucking shoot par. I should be on the tour. You know there are people out there that will watch it and think that exact thing.
There definitely are people out there, although I don't know how many average Joes are shooting 1 over par. I think that already puts you well above average. I do agree with you. I look. I think this is why I prefer watching links golf. For example, I prefer playing links golf and I prefer watching links golf because you're not shooting on a links course. You're not shooting 7, 8 under par. Just the conditions become too challenging. Your distance is just not going to overcome the kind of undulations as you love of the course or the wind. You're going to have to play the course more sensibly. So I think that's why, for example, the Open is normally more compelling viewing than, say, the US Open, because you might have a US Open where someone wins at 20 under, whereas the most part you're looking at the Open kind of 10 to 15-ish, maybe, for the 4 rounds, and that's if conditions have been good. Tough conditions, you can all of a sudden switch to like 2 under wins it. So I think there is obviously that distinction between the type of course, but Rory just wants to be challenged. You got to admire that. He's just saying, I didn't win, but it was too easy. That's the kind of mindset that I could totally be on board with.
Yeah, he seems to be a little bit of a complainer.
And life is pretty fucking good for him, so.
Yeah, what is he complaining about? Just shut the fuck up and golf, man. He's still heard about that breakup 15 years ago.
Oh, are you talking about Wozniacki? He broke up with her.
Yeah. Oh, sure he did. He probably complained about it and then told everyone that.
I mean, her career is kind of nosedives post breakup, so I think
that's not true. She came back, and didn't she come back and eventually like win another major? Because she was injured and then came back and then won a major and was, I think, like number 1 or number 2, and then dropped off again. She definitely revitalized her career, and then she had a kid.
Well, she's only won 1 Grand Slam. So, I mean, I'm going to have to try and cross-compare. So she won the Australian in 2018, which you're right, is probably post-breakup.
Definitely post-breakup.
So.
Because they both took a nosedive with the breakup, and then she picked it up, and then people were concerned that he wasn't, and he complained about it probably.
So Rory McIlroy reportedly broke up with Wozniacki.
You're making that part up.
I didn't even get there. In a 3-minute phone call, supposedly. That's heartless. That's fucking.
He probably just complained to her, and she was like, "Shut the fuck up, dude. We're done." And he's like, "Yeah, I broke up with her."
So, yeah, 2014, they broke up with each other.
Yeah.
So this is a great article. There's no right way to end a relationship, but Rory McIlroy may have skipped some steps and shattered a land speed record in breaking things off with Caroline Wozniacki.
He probably then complained that he got charged international fees for the call.
Yeah, so this is during when she was in the front. So Wozniacki played tennis at Roland Garros yesterday, but would have rather been in Belfast, asking Rory McIlroy to his face why he left her this way.
Oh, she got break up mid tournament. Oh man, I knew you guys had a connection.
I should date Wozniacki. How'd she do that year?
Not that well. Good.
Not that well.
What a line you would have.
I know exactly how you feel. That's just you and I, peas from the same pod.
Now she's married to the basketball player.
Yeah.
Fisher?
Lee.
Derek Lee?
No. David Lee?
David Lee, that could be right. I don't know. He wasn't a very good basketball player.
He's pretty good. I mean, it's all relative, right? He's probably on a par with Wozniacki. Did he win it? When did he leave the Warriors? Did he win a title with the Warriors? I think he probably did. So probably has an NBA title to his name.
It's only one more than I've got.
True. No.
Nope. We have the same amount.
It looks like you got the same amount. He must have won one. Yeah, he won one in 2015 with the Golden State Warriors.
He's lucky.
So one title, 2-time All-Star. He was a first-team All-American in 2001 when he was in high school. McDonald's All-American in 2001 as well. And Mr. Show Me Basketball in 2001 as well.
Wow.
So he might be slightly ahead of you.
Maybe.
Probably earned a little bit more money.
He's probably taller than 5'11" and a half, too.
He's 6'9".
Yeah. He's got me by a few inches.
He's got you by a foot.
Fuck off.
Yeah. All right. What else we got? We have one of our favorite topics. One of our most
Vasilis?
No. Harry Kane. Harry Kane's future. It's very much up for debate at the moment, and supposedly rumors are that Thomas Tuchel has given him some phone calls, and there's the option of him moving to Bayern Munich, which
interesting.
Very interesting, because for him, it guarantees he wins something. So it kind of year one. I mean, no matter what, even if Bayern Munich had a terrible season, they're winning something. They're winning one cup. So you automatically eliminate the sort of missing element to his CV of 1-0. But it means that he would almost certainly miss out on breaking the all-time Premier League goal-scoring record. I mean, there's a world in which he could go to Bayern Munich for 2 seasons, make his way back to the Premier League, and maybe still break the record if he went to the right club and if his career was long enough. It's possible. And then I guess the question for you, would you rather finish your career? Let's say he wins nothing. Spurs win nothing. England win nothing. But he breaks the Premier League all-time goal-scoring record, which will take a while for anyone to break, unless Haaland just spends his career in England.
Which I don't think he will.
I don't think he will either. So assuming that isn't the case, it's a record that will probably be safe for at least, say, 10 years, possibly significantly longer. Would you rather have that or go to Bayern Munich, say win a couple Bundesligas, let's even throw in a Champions League, but it feels like you kind of moved somewhere to win something?
Yeah, so I think it's tough. It's tough because I don't know enough about like European football to really know how much these titles matter. Like, for instance, I know a lot about hockey, and I know at the end of the day, every hockey player is obsessed with like lifting the Stanley Cup. I don't know if it's that strong of a feeling in European football because there are like so many different titles you can win and so many different ways that you could win something, whether it's for internationally for your team or domestically in like the actual league or in like FA Cup and all those types of things. So
I'll say this to maybe simplify it for you. I think if he went to Bayern Munich and he only won the Bundesliga, even say multiple times, but he did not win the Champions League or he did not win a trophy with England, he would need one of those two things. I think people would still say you didn't really do it.
Yeah. So I think regardless of that, though, I honestly think at this point in his career, I would rather go for the record because at least that way you'll be known always as at least one time having that record. Whereas I think if you just go off and win the Bundesliga, then it's like, wow, great. Okay. You're now the guy who almost had a record, but then just went to get a random title with a team that's stacked and loaded. I think if you win earlier, yeah, I think I would go for the scoring title. I think it's just at this point in his career, he's already going to be labeled the guy who never won trophies, even if he wins one or two. I still think he'll be labeled as the guy who only won one trophy. So just go for it. Go for the scoring title.
But this is the point, right? Because if he went to Bayern Munich for 3 seasons, 4 seasons, he probably leaves with, let's say he goes to Bayern Munich for 4 seasons. He probably leaves with 4 league titles. He probably leaves with, let's say, 2 German Cups. And he probably leaves with 1 Champions League. Like, that's the reality. That's probably what you get in a 4-year span. You know, without that wouldn't be incredible.
Then I think he's known as the guy who couldn't win anything in England.
But he also becomes the, it's tough. It's tough. But,
I think, and I think it goes back to, I think it matters. I think the question would be, how much does a Champions League trophy matter to him? Because going there that's the only realistic thing that might satisfy that need to get a trophy.
Yeah. So he's, for context for listeners, he's 47 goals behind Alan Shearer.
I think he's 47 years old. I was like, what?
He's on 213 Premier League goals. 260 is the record.
So 2 seasons.
2 seasons he should get it.
Barring an injury.
You think. Yeah. At most 3 seasons. 3 seasons he's guaranteed to break the record, basically. As you said, barring injury. So, that's... And again, that means it's doable for him to, he is 29 years old. He's about to he turns 30 in a month. So he could go to Bayern Munich for 2 seasons, win a bunch of things, come back to the Premier League, try and get 3 seasons out, 4 seasons out in the Premier League and break the goal scoring record. Like, if you're his agent or someone in his camp, that's probably what you're telling him. You're like, Harry, go get the, get I was going to say monkey off your back, but go and do it. And then you can focus on, maybe go back to Spurs. You're the kind of the prodigal son returning to Tottenham after a couple of years abroad with a Champions League under your belt, and you get to try and score 50 goals in 3 seasons before you retire. That's maybe the storybook ending if you're him. But I think if I were him, I would be saying, can I move to Manchester United? break the record and win something.
Yeah.
Like, is this doable?
I think if I'm the only person I think who should be worried is Kingsley Coman, because he's won a trophy every year.
Kingsley Coman?
Yeah.
Kingsley Coman?
Coman. I thought I said Coman, but I guess I got Coman on the mind.
Yeah.
Watching too much Silo.
Yeah.
He's nervous. He might break his streak.
That's true. And if you're Thomas Tuchel, you've already got a little bit of pressure on you. Do you want to bring the Harry Kane jinx into the mix?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the likely outcome is he stays where he is. I think if I had to bet right now, where is Harry Kane playing on September 1st? I think he's playing for Tottenham. But I think, because I think part of him is accepting, because the other calculation he's making in his mind is he gets to be the greatest Tottenham player of all time, which if you leave, you risk losing. Everyone will say it's just as special, but if you play your entire career there, minus a loan spell, you really do get to kind of secure your place as a club legend. And also, the thing that would eat away at him, if he wins something with Spurs, it would obviously mean significantly more than winning something anywhere else. And the last thing he would want, right, is to move to Bayern Munich and then watch Spurs win even the FA Cup. Like, if you told him how bad, like, you go to Bayern Munich and you win the Bundesliga and the Champions League, but in the same season, Spurs finish in the top 4 and win the FA Cup, well, you feel like you kind of missed out. And I think part of him would probably say yes.
I guess while we're talking about potential transfers, it seems like City have pulled the old, let's see how much money Arsenal will waste in a bidding war, and got Arsenal to go up to 105 million pounds for the transfer of Declan Rice, which would break the English record, which was previously held by my boy Jack Grealish at 100 million. Now,
Yeah.
I want to stick straight with that comparison. Do you think one of those is worth more than the other?
I think you could make a stronger case at the time that they were sold that Declan Rice is worth more money than Jack Grealish was when he was sold. He's had a longer career in the Premier League. He's younger than Jack Grealish was when he was sold. He's established himself completely in the England team and played multiple tournaments as a key component. They won a European trophy last season, even if it was the least meaningful trophy available. I think you can definitely, he's got a stronger case for being, I don't think either of them are realistically worth that sum of money. But then the reality is football transfer is like, it's just monopoly money at this point. Like, I don't know. In the past, you could make, player X was sold for 20 million and this player is being sold for 25 million. Let's try and figure out why. This is just, well, we're just going to spend money, right? And Arsenal got put into a position, City don't really need him. Arsenal were in a position of, if we don't sign him, we look like we don't have money. And this is going to really, like, people are going to start criticizing us for not trying to buy players they think would put them over the edge when it comes to winning the Premier League. I still don't know if Declan Rice is the missing X factor, to be honest with you.
But do you change your prediction now?
On Arsenal missing out on the top four?
Yes.
I'll
give you the chance.
I will say at this point, no.
Okay.
It does slightly concern me that this might be a huge spending summer for them. Like, if you tell me this is the start of them spending 300 million pounds, then yes, I might think again. But if at the moment it is, they signed Declan Rice, and then who else have they signed? Kai Havertz. I think I'll be comfortable in thinking I don't think those are the game-changing signings you necessarily need. And that's not being dismissive of Declan Rice, who I think is a very good player. It's just, I don't think, you need game-changing players to really close that gap between them and City. And Declan Rice is a nice foundation player, and he needs game-changing players working around him. It's the same when you look at England in the center of midfield. You have Declan Rice. He can do the dirty work, but you'd need someone like Jude Bellingham alongside him to be able to do something a little bit more meaningful, the game-changing impact. And I can compare it to Graham Souness when he was Blackburn manager. They had two talented central midfield players, one who was just hardworking and maybe not super skilled, and the other one who had all the talent and ability on the ball in the world. And he said, if you want the maestro to play the piano, someone has to carry it onto the stage. Declan Rice is the one carrying it onto the stage, and that's fine. But he needs who's the person alongside him. I guess you can kind of argue it's sort of Odegaard, but I still don't think that's really. I don't think City are looking. Pep Guardiola is not sitting right now thinking, "Oh my God, Arsenal have added Kai Havertz and Declan Rice. We're going to need another 10 points to win the Premier League next season." What else have we got from our little sporting roundup?
Well, I guess we could talk about cricket. You had the Ashes.
Yeah. So while we were in England, the first Test match, England looked as if they were going to win it at the end after a controversial declaration in the first innings, and then looked as if they just needed a couple wickets at the death, and Australia managed to string together a nice partnership to get over the line, which made the declaration look even more controversial because you could make a strong case that 30 or 40 more runs, England win. So they basically put Australia in a match-winning position, although it's like we always say, this is a little bit like analyzing the missed field goal in the first quarter. Like there's a lot
I
of the
will
game
say I
that's played.
didn't like it right off the bat. I was against it from the start.
Yeah. No, and it's when does this Bazball craze go too far? When are you too loosey goosey with, there sometimes, and we see this in American football too, right? For our listeners there, this is a little bit like fully embracing the go for it on fourth down mentality. And there are moments when, as boring as they are, but the tried and tested conventions of a sport are the tried and tested conventions for a reason.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's good being like, oh, the statistics say go for it here on every 4th and 1. Maybe not from your own 5-yard line, though. And then this is maybe in the first innings of an Ashes test match, you don't declare when you easily could have added. You had Joe Root in going well, and you could have just said, swing the bat, add a quick fire 40, 50, maybe even 60 runs. And then I always think in the first innings, again, it's one of those cliches. You can't win a match in the first innings, but you can lose it. I do think you can put a match out of a losing position. And England weren't far away from batting themselves out of being able to lose the match in their first innings. And instead, they chose to keep all 3 potential match results alive. And it's made worse by the fact that they've then not got off to a great start in the second test. And not helped by the fact that in the period between the first and the second test, a lot of the players, relatively minor players who haven't been there, done that, have been speaking a little too much. Like there's too much mouth and not enough delivery in the matches for my liking. I don't know how you have a player in your team, for example, coming out and saying they're going to win the second test by 150 runs. I like sledging. I think good sledging is entertaining, and there's the mental side of getting under someone's skin in a sport is something you need to do. But having someone like Ollie Robinson, who's effectively kind of a nobody when it comes to international cricket, to have him trying to justify why he's telling Khawaja to fuck off after he's out for 143 or whatever it was, and saying, well, the Australians have always like naming Australians from 15, 20 years ago, whose response to him was like, I retired when you were 13. Why are you bringing me into the conversation about why you're telling her, like, swearing at a modern day player? It makes everyone look a little stupid. And this is the issue I have a little bit, is there's this risk with this Bazball mentality of let's go out there and enjoy ourselves. There's the risk of you need someone to say, shut up for a little bit. Like, let's be serious and let's try and win the Ashes, because everyone's going to forget the test matches we've won over the past 12 months if we lose 3-0, 4-0, 4-1 in the Ashes. Like, no one's going to care.
Yeah. And like what bothers me about the fact that they declared in those first innings, if you're going to do that, then just literally go all out in those last couple of overs. Like, worst case, like, bring everyone in, say like, hey, we're gonna declare, like, we think we're pretty close. Just go for it. Just, if you get a wicket, whatever, but just go for it. These were their last 10 overs. 8, 2, 6, 4 with a wicket, none, 2, 3, 7, 5, 20 declared. How do you finally get a good over? Finally get a good over, and then that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the argument would be, from a test match perspective, that's a pretty high run rate. But I do agree with you.
You're right. But if the plan is that you're going to declare, then I think that's a low run rate, because then your mentality should be, let's try and run up the score in these last 10 overs.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a few overs there. You had 2 in the double digits, and you've got 7s and 8s. So it's pretty high. But I do agree with you. You'd want a couple more with big scores to sort of indicate that it was planned.
Yeah.
The 20 kind of does, but yeah, you'd want...
But that's one over, like if you had 12, 15, 20.
No, I don't disagree with you. I wasn't against the idea of declaring. We discussed it at the time. I don't mind the idea of trying to get a few overs at opening batsmen at the night, sort of at the end of the day's play, and then get them fresh again in the morning. And in a sense, like we discussed, they had them 25 for 2 or whatever it was. So it sort of justified the move in terms of the short term results.
It just didn't seem very well thought out.
No,
or planned.
Yeah, they could have pushed a little bit harder if that had been the thought. Like at tea time, they should have known then, hey, if we get to this, we got this target score in mind that we think is a good score that we're comfortable with. And that's what you need to be doing for a declaration. You need to basically, let's simplify it. If we get to 300, we're fine with 300 as a score. So if we're all out for 300, we're fine. Not let's get to 300, then accelerate and see if we can get to 350 quickly. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree with you. It seems like they maybe semi-embraced it and didn't have it be as well thought out or planned as it could have been. But yeah, it is tough to analyze a first innings declaration and then see when a match literally goes down to the wire and was interrupted by rain to try and say with total confidence that 20 more runs would have changed it, or 30 or 40 or whatever. The reality is England should have bowled better when they needed a couple of wickets at the end of the match. They put themselves in a winning position and they didn't win from that spot. And I think that's the real shame.
And it also makes me slightly mad because you still had Root in those first innings.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Let Root cook, Eddie.
He's Russell Westbrook now or something. But
Russell Wilson.
Well, yeah, we're really saying it for Westbrook too. Look, it looks bad when you lose. I mean, this is the thing. You take the risky decision and you lose. It looks bad. And it's going to look even worse if they then lose this test match as well and they find themselves 2-0 down. And then that is an absolute mountain to climb, because winning 3 consecutive test matches in a time of year in England where you're also likely to have some rain disruption. So a draw becomes a possibility just because you might have a day rained out, 2 days rained out. It's going to put them in a tough spot.
And then I guess we can discuss the cricket match we went to, but not the actual match. I don't know how many people are tuning in to listen to our weekday Vitality Blast commentary, but just the fact of being there and what we think we can do. You said there's no way I can hit one out of the boundary.
To hit a 6? I mean, we're talking to a real bowler? No, you got no chance.
Of course, if I put an MLB pitcher on the mound, can you hit a home run?
No, but I didn't claim that I could.
No, I was just saying if someone like
throwdowns.
Me one, yeah.
I mean, I think if you did throwdowns, if I gave you 20 throwdowns, then you'd hit a 6 eventually. If you told me I want it here, sure, because I've seen you hit a baseball. I know how hard you can hit a ball. So, eventually you would connect with one well enough.
It would have to be like I think my optimal one would be a ball that I can step into off the bounce and hit it pretty low off the ground.
No, I think your best case scenario would be waist height, bouncing up to your waist. So you get to do a baseball-esque swing, pulling it. I think that's your best case scenario. That's where you get to use a swing that would be most familiar to you from baseball or from golf.
See, I'm thinking more like Vlad Guerrero stepping, like a mix between Vlad Guerrero and Happy Gilmore. That's how I'm hitting the 6.
I think you got very little chance of that. I think your best case is as I said, I think if you could on the bounce, waist to mid, sort of strike zone, basically. I think if I gave you strike zone, I think that's where you're looking at, your best chance and just pulling it. And I think if you did that 20 times, medium pace, you knew it was coming, and you were preparing, you had one shot in your head, and that was it, and you got used to the timing. Yeah, I think you'd hit 1 for 6, possibly more out of 20. Also, assuming we do like a warm up, right? This isn't just going out cold. Yeah, I think you'd hit a 6. But I mean, that's such a.
Does Lords or the Oval rent by the hour? Can we test this out?
I mean, there'd be easier places to test this before we got there. This is the other question, I suppose, is like, which ground are we playing on, and where are the boundaries?
Yeah.
Because obviously you get boundaries that are optimized for T20 experiences, so they get pulled in a little bit. So then you're talking about, like 65-meter sixes versus 80-meter sixes. I still think you could hit an 80-meter 6.
Yeah. I think what I was most surprised about wasn't the boundaries and people hitting 6s. I think was how far the run-up is for a bowler. I don't think you really appreciate that when you see it on television. I mean, you see them run a lot, but you don't really see how much ground they are until you see like the side view of that, like how much ground a bowler runs.
I think that's pretty consistent when you speak. I think the two things, I think you're right. There's that, and the other thing that surprises people is like how far a wicketkeeper stands back.
Yeah,
because again, I
that's
think on
true.
TV,
it looks close on TV.
On TV, it looks like the wicketkeeper is like 6-7 yards behind the stumps, and to a really quick bowler, you're obviously way back. So like same with slips and stuff. I think it surprises because just the shortening element of the TV. Yeah, I think those are the two things. But yeah, no, we'll get the chance, and we can try and maybe coordinate and do a cricket video with Dan. I'm sure
he can get us onto the Oval.
he can get maybe get some, he spoke so positively about his experience with various bowlers. Let's see which professional bowler we can get to try and let you hit a 6.
Okay, I have another then. What do you think I have a better chance? I think both are very low. Do I have a better chance of, let's just bring it down to a boundary, so like even a 4, off a professional bowler, or holding the wicket for, let's say, 2 overs?
Just not getting out.
Yeah.
So either you don't get out in 12 balls, you're facing all 12 balls.
Yeah.
Or you hit a boundary in those 12 balls.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say that the boundary is more like, I don't think you're
just
doing
by
anything.
Pure luck, just that I somehow get a connection on it.
You could, I mean, especially if it's a quick bowler, you could just edge a 4, right? Like there's something could happen. I'll be honest, if we're talking match day situation, I don't think you're doing either. I mean, I think the reality is like a spinner would just bamboozle you. Yeah. Because you don't know how to read it, so you wouldn't know which way the ball's turning. So you'd be screwed because you'd have a ball bouncing and you just don't know which way it's going to go, and so you got no chance. So that would be, even though you'd think you might have a better chance because it's slower, you're just not going to be able to deal with it. And then anyone legitimately quick, it's just going to be too quick for you.
And also, again, it scare the shit out of me.
As long as they're not stupid, too. Like, do they get a slight scouting report on you? They know. I know.
I've never stepped in front before.
The empty scouting report is their scouting report.
Scouting report is, this guy has no scouting report for a reason.
I mean, I think they would be able to tell just from the way, obviously, you held the cricket bat and like took your guard. They would know that you were a complete novice. But you obviously don't want to be in a situation, you could survive if there was just someone trying to like get you to nibble outside the off stump, and you're not good enough to even hit it, right? That could save you. You'd need someone to go, I'm going to try and bowl them here. Yeah. And I think if I bowl 12 balls at the stumps, one of them is getting through.
And I guess just the last thing we could say, we probably lucked out on one of the best ever cricket matches ever, but in terms of viewing. But I think regardless, people who are listening that maybe one day might be visiting England or something like that, I think it's definitely something people should go to. It's like, I think when you have a sports fan who's non-American that comes to America and they do like I want to see America's pastime and go to a baseball game. I think this is 1,000 times more fun to go to a cricket match being a non-European, or I guess even more specifically, like not from the UK, or like which would be the major one in Europe. But
yeah, no, the T20 for sure. I mean, a test match or like a 4-day game in the county championship, that would be tougher. You might not enjoy it quite as much, but a T20 where it's action packed, relatively quick,
fun crowd, good drinking, good food,
good food. I would say, and I was my first time at the Oval. I really loved it. I thought it was a good experience. Nice views. Food was excellent. Atmosphere was nice. I do think you could make a little bit of a slight case. It might have been a bit more enjoyable in a non-London venue where there were maybe fewer finance bros. I think the heavy finance bro community at a like London midweek match, you could benefit slightly. Like if you were at almost any other ground in England other than Lord's, you're probably getting a slightly more enjoyable. Not that our atmosphere was negative or not enjoyable, but I think you're getting a more fun atmosphere elsewhere.
Let me put it this way. Our friend who had the best camera had a really nice video of someone hitting a 6, and he had followed everything the entire way in like his 4K HD camera. And halfway through the video, there's a finance pro giving the hand job gesture right in front of the camera. Completely ruins the video.
Well, you could get that anywhere. I don't want to limit that gesture to a finance bro, but it's just the overall atmosphere. There was a lot of white shirts, backpacks, kind of not focusing on the match as much. That would be the one criticism if you had to pick the negative out of the experience. But overall, I give it a 10 out of 10. And I will say again, it's not just a 10 out of 10 because we saw 500 plus runs. Because going back to the Rory McIlroy discussion, in a way, the match might have been even more interesting in a Surrey score 160 and Middlesexer, because we kind of you almost became numb to the fact of like, it's going to be a boundary. Like every ball, 4-6, 4-6.
But it was exciting because they were chasing. So that was just the like act of chasing and running that down was interesting.
It was, but you got into a scenario where they needed like 11 runs and over, and you're like, well, that's easy.
Yeah.
It was like, that's not a problem. They're going to score 11 and over. Whereas you could have been in a situation where they maybe like 9 and over, and you're like, oh, that's tough. Like if they're going to have to try and find a boundary somewhere and stuff. And this, again, still fantastic to see an incredibly high scoring game. And again, to try to draw comparisons for people who are Americans or non-cricket fans who don't understand, it's like going to like an NBA game and seeing, 180, like 180, 179.
Well, what's the highest scoring basketball game of all time?
I mean, it's going to be higher than that,
So the highest scoring game without overtime is, well, I guess the Warriors scored 162. Yeah, 162 to 158.
Yeah. So I wasn't that far off. And you got to throw in the possibility of overtime, right? But still, and it's making the argument of what would be a more enjoyable, that or seeing 95-94. Maybe 95-94 because the stops and a little bit more defensive play kind of adds to the drama down the end versus they're going to shoot a 3 and make it. They're going to shoot a 3 and make it. Yeah.
Well, this goes back to our arguments of Chiefs versus Bills when I think they're the greatest games of the year and it's 48-45 and you think they're terrible games.
I don't think they're terrible games. I don't think they're the best games. But this is different. If you're telling me I'm going to go to one NFL game in a year, be in the stadium, and I'm going to take some people who've never been to an NFL game before, then that's the game I want to take them to. So that's kind of the difference. But I don't want to watch a Super Bowl that's 48-45.
What if Chad Henne was starting? Would you still want to take him?
If he's going to somehow muster up 45 points, sure.
And I guess the other thing is, I mean, I kind of just want to go back because I actually want to make money. Now that I know that there's a £2 return on all the beer cups.
One pound, I think.
Was it one?
It was
£1. Yeah, you're right. Because the issue is I ended up, we didn't even know that was the rule. And then even afterwards, I still ended up with about 10 cups in my hand. Yeah. But it was after the match, and it was chaos getting out of the stadium because there's only 2 exits in the entire stadium. So I didn't even bother at the end of the day. I just actually handed it off to some kid as we were leaving who had like 50 cups in his hand.
Well, I now appreciate, because we obviously got these like gin and tonics walking in, and I just dumped my glass at the Fever Tree stand when I finished it. And people looked at me at the time. I thought they were looking at me in like, who's this asshole just like leaving his empty cup here? Now I realize that they think, who's this idiot who's like literally just like,
all he had to do for 10 seconds was just stand there and would have got a pound back.
Exactly. So I think, yeah, it would have been easy for us, certainly for each of us, to get 10 pounds would have been.
Yeah, because there's just cups everywhere.
I mean, if you just think about it, so I had, while we were there, I had 6 drinks.
Yeah.
And I never handed in a cup. So already that's just 6 pounds from me. You had a couple between us, you know, we had like 15, 20 pounds that we.
But I also mean, there was about just within reaching distance for where we were sitting, at least a dozen cups just sitting on the ground.
But then do you want to be that guy?
Yeah, I don't care.
I looked at those guys and I do you want to be that guy?
I mean, I'll tell you this. I won't be the guy who's like going up and down the rows for 20 minutes. But if you told me within the 2-row radius of where I am, there's 20 pounds just sitting there, I'll take that.
What this really means is, if you want to be that guy, you got to be the beer snake guy. That's who you got to be. If you really want to
give me your cup. Let's do the snake. Give me your cup.
If you want to be the guy who doesn't look like a loser, but who ends up with a decent amount of money at the end of it, you got to start the beer snake. You got to be like, hey, there's 5 of us. We can have 16, 17 cups in this beer snake, which is enough to then get momentum for other people to put it in. And then at the end, we're going to have like 100 pounds.
Yeah.
But we're not going to do this. We're going to start this early, and it's not going to look like we're collecting cups to make money. We are doing this for the beer snake.
Yeah.
Like that has to be the move. Which
Listen,
I don't care. Of the finance,
I'll collect it just for the Jaeger bombs we can buy after.
3 Jaeger bombs. The finance bros in front of us ran the beer snake.
Yeah, and then they threw away the cups because they don't need that money.
Yeah, that's the real move. That's to get the 200 beer snake and then just go, fuck it. I don't even want to wait in line.
Because the other thing is, you don't really have to wait in line as long as you don't wait to the very end.
You have to wait in a line no matter what, but it might not be that. You have to wait in like the normal beer wait line, which is probably 5 minutes. So yeah, but then you do have to wait there holding 100 cups, which is a little bit more difficult than you're making it out. Anyway, does that wrap up our sports discussion? I don't know. Do we have some non-sporting topics?
Non-sporting. I've actually watched a lot of television these past few days, between readjusting myself off of the jet lag, which my Whoop has told me affected me, and then also going back from no physical activity to trying to push my body into shape for the National Roller Hockey Championships in 2 weeks. I've destroyed my body trying to do so. So I've had a few days where I've had to kind of just sit at home and sit on the couch. So I've watched a decent amount of shows. So the first one, I started Black Mirror. I've done 3 of the Black Mirror episodes of the 5, I think, of the season, 5 or 6. It's a decent season. It's a little different than previous seasons because it's not so like futuristic tech, like warnings about what could happen. It's more like present day stuff. And one is actually past. One takes place, I would say, almost in like what looks to be like the 70s. They don't ever really fully say, but pretty good. I've enjoyed them. They're super depressing. Like that is not a show you could ever binge. You watch one and you kind of don't want to watch another one for a day or two, and that's not because they're bad. It's just because sometimes it's just like, oh, that was rough. Have you watched any of them yet?
I think I've out Black Mirrored myself.
Ooh,
I think the first.
Why? They're still good.
You're right, but I don't know. I think I enjoyed the first few seasons and the premise of it, and I think I felt like it had run its course. Like I think I've got it when it comes to Black Mirror.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, like they're still just very well done. They're a lot better than other stuff you're gonna watch on television.
No, I don't disagree with you, and I'm sure if I watched it, I'd probably like it. And there's no consistency in my application of that rule because I watch a lot of TV shows that have been done. Ted Lasso, strong case in point. Ted Lasso had run its course, and I still watch the final season of it. But sometimes you just got to decide, and it's a weird time for me because there aren't a lot of TV shows. Like I don't have a ton to watch right now. To me, the reverse, the most enjoyable aspect of coming back from that week of travel was that I hadn't listened to a podcast the entire week, and I just it was like, oh, I can listen to podcasts for the next 36 hours. Like I'm
still catching up. It's nice.
And that to me was wonderful. Just be like, oh, anytime I want to throw one on, I'm cooking, let's throw on a podcast. I'm doing this, let's put one on. Like, and sometimes under normal circumstances, I do try and kind of ration like my good podcasts. And, you go like, okay, I've got 6 hours of good podcasts a week. I better choose when I use them. Whereas this is just like, throw them on.
I agree.
This will be okay.
Well, so other shows, Silo with the King Common.
Yeah, sure.
Not a bad show. It's decent.
We did rip into on the Eurostar home, Olivier, who was on the trip with us, he got a notification on his iPad while we were all talking that a new episode of Silo was out. So we kind of started talking about Silo, and he started describing it, and I was like, "Oh, so it's Snowpiercer." And he was like, yeah, it's Snowpiercer, but it's like vertical in the ground.
Yeah, it's like an up and down Snowpiercer.
And like literally everything you do, he's like, and like the higher you go, the wealthier you are or whatever. It's like, okay, it's Snowpiercer. Like, and if you leave, you're dead. Oh, it's Snowpiercer. Like,
it literally is. And it's funny because it's actually designed like the set is kind of similar where it's almost a little steampunky. Like how the original, I never watched the TV show, but the Chris Evans movie.
The movie, yeah.
That the guy who did Parasite did. Yeah. It does kind of even look like it.
We made fun
a lot less violent.
We made fun of it on the Eurostar, and we basically narrowed it down to like the pitch when they were trying to get funding for what's like, imagine Snowpiercer, but we stuck the train in the ground, and it was like, there we go. Will you give us $20 million to make this?
Yeah, it is. It is very similar to that, and I really like that movie, so maybe that's why I kind of like the show. Although the movie is better than the show.
The movie Snowpiercer
is better than TV show Silo.
Okay.
The horizontal Snowpiercer is better than the vertical Silo.
And the book is better than all of it.
Well, they're separate books.
There are Silo books?
Yeah. It's based off a book series.
I want to know if that book was written before or after Snowpiercer.
It's actually the same author. That would be it's not. I don't know, but that would be the kick. Yeah, it's okay. It's we also talked about it, you and I. The biggest downside is that Common is in it. And now that you showed me that video of the teacher pretending to be Common, I cannot get it out of my head of every time he talks, he just goes, AI. Because of AI.
I'll have to get that as a drop for us.
Yeah.
That will have to be added to the soundboard.
And then I got more TV shows, Eddie.
So do I.
I started watching Platonic, which is the Seth Rogen, Rose Byrne. It's basically like it's exactly this is another one.
It's every Seth Rogen movie.
No, it's better. It's literally Neighbors, the show Neighbors, except instead of them being a married couple, they're just best friends. It's exactly the same.
Just to clarify, you mean the American show Neighbors,
not the movie.
Not the very popular Australian soap opera Neighbors.
No. Although she is Australian, so that mixes it up a little bit.
Just for our listeners, just to clear things up. It just feels like Seth Rogen's career in a nutshell. Yeah. And I quite like Seth Rogen. Like, he's very good at what he does.
Yeah.
But you got to be in the Seth Rogen mood, because
I don't like it when it's like too druggy. Like, not the biggest fan of Pineapple Express.
Arguably one of his best movies, but yeah.
I know, but it's just like a little too much for me.
Yeah. No, I get that. But I mean, it's he's got one speed. You know what I mean? Like,
I think he's really funny. I like him.
He's got one pitch, and you just got to like that pitch. You know, it's like that's all he's going to give you. But
that show's pretty good. It's 30 minutes. It's a comedy, which is nice. It's not as good, let's say, as like season 1 of Ted Lasso, because it doesn't have that like warm-heartedness that Ted Lasso also had, in addition to being funny. But it actually is probably funnier than season 1 of Ted Lasso. It has some really good points. Like, I watched it while I was having breakfast alone at a restaurant on Tuesday morning, and the woman came up to me and asked what I was watching, because she said I seemed to be really enjoying myself.
You fucking loser.
And I told her, I don't have anything on.
You absolute
I'm just
loser.
Sitting here laughing at myself.
That would have been more respectful.
And then lastly, I've been watching The Bear, season 2. All
right.
It is...
We don't have to talk about The Bear. Both of us have had podcasts ruined by bear talk recently, so we can leave the bear talk out. Go listen to...
amazing. Just watch The Bear. It's amazing.
Right, there we go. That's the recommendation. I've been watching the Tour de France documentary on Netflix.
I watched part of that.
You fell asleep to part of an episode too, and I have to say it is a good documentary. Even if you do not like professional cycling and the Tour de France, it's interesting.
Rank it in the other sports documentary shows.
Of the documentaries of that type, I would say it's only behind, for me, the best versions of like Last Chance U.
Wow. So better than Formula One.
Yeah, it's better because a lot of the Formula One documentary is faked. Like, they add in... they add in dialogue and stuff afterwards, which they semi-do in the Tour de France one, but it's not as obvious and it's not as important. It's like narrative fake commentary. But the Formula One suffers from that element. It's hard for me because, like, obviously some of the early Hard Knocks are super good, but I'm just so tired of Hard Knocks that it gets like pushed down in my mind where I rank it. But also Hard Knocks deserves credits for kind of establishing this type of documentary too. Yeah. But yeah, I would say the best are like those college football Last Chance U. I enjoyed the basketball, but the college football was just better because there were more characters and they were even dumber. So like that was better and there was just more controversy. But this is good. And I think this is a very good entry point if you don't watch professional cycling, similar to the Formula One. You know, if it isn't a sport that you've paid attention to, I think you could watch it and come away from it thinking, I'm never going to watch cycling, but I enjoyed that. Or it might be, with the Tour de France, only a few days away from starting, this might be the thing that makes you watch it and then decide, you know what, I'm going to watch a little bit of the Tour de France and I'll appreciate like what's happening and I'll know some of the people and I'll know the team names and stuff. I would think what I'll say it also does better than the Formula One is it covers a wider range of the participants, whereas the Formula One like focuses per team per year. This is like you get an episode focusing on Jumbo-Visma, an episode focusing on, each team. So that's a little bit better.
Yeah, I the 10 minutes I watched, I was into.
It will make you seem, and we obviously there was a cyclist who died in a Tour of Switzerland 2 weeks ago. It does make it seem, so this is a difficult comment to kind of reconcile with that fact. It does make it seem like there's a crash in the Tour de France every 4 minutes. Like it's just like endless crashes. Whereas obviously the reality is most stages you'll go, there might be a minor crash, but most stages don't involve major crashes, and you go hours without any type of incident. But it does be like stage 7, huge crash, he's hurt. Stage 8, huge crash, he's hurt. So there's that bit. They're just trying to kind of increase the drama. But aside from that, it's really good.
Anything else you've been watching?
No, I've been on my Wild West.
What about YouTube's?
Wild
West docs. Is this because we talked about visiting Tombstone?
It is, and I'd already been pre your visit. I'd already so the TV show I'm like slightly rewatching, which a TV show also came up on our trip.
Tombstone?
Deadwood. I have been rewatching clips of Deadwood. And then I'd never seen the Wild Bill movie from the mid-90s. And I decided I would watch that in clips on YouTube. It's completely batshit crazy.
Did you ever watch the one? It didn't get a lot of traction, but people say it's actually a really, really good movie. The assassination of Jesse. The
one with Brad Pitt?
And
it's a good movie.
It's a good movie. Is it Casey Affleck?
Casey Affleck's in it,
right?
Yeah, that's a good movie. It's a slow burn. Again, it's a really, there's not a lot happening for a lot of that movie, but if you like the Western concept, then yeah, it's enjoyable. But if you don't, I think you're going to find that a bit of a struggle.
I like Casey Affleck.
Yeah, I mean the Wild Bill movie. Jeff Bridges played Wild Bill in this movie from 1995, which, based on the 10, 11 clips that I've watched, which probably equate to about half of the movie, completely historically inaccurate, but kind of entertaining. But he does a pretty good job of playing Wild Bill, but it's a little out there. But yeah, I'm contemplating. I'm not a big rewatcher. I'm very close to pulling the trigger on completely rewatching Deadwood.
Wow.
Which I've already done once in my life. I'm pretty close.
You've already rewatched it once in your life.
Already rewatched it.
So you've watched it twice already, plus clips.
Watched it twice plus clips, so probably about 17 times in total if you throw in the clips. I'm contemplating that July could be. Let me rewatch the 3 seasons of Deadwood.
Wow,
it's not a lot of TV. Maybe, and then the movie. I might skip the movie.
You've seen the movie though.
I have. Yeah, I've seen the movie, and the movie's not bad. It's just I don't know if I necessarily need to rewatch the movie. The TV show, I definitely need to.
Tombstone is on almost every day on cable television. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, got some great lines. I'll be your Huckleberry. Didn't come out right.
Yeah, but you didn't say it right either. He's like, I'll be your Huckleberry. Watching that movie makes me feel sad about Val Kilmer.
I agree. I mean, that's an all-time performance from Val Kilmer.
He's so good in it.
Yeah.
I could watch him do shit like that all day.
And now his face just looks weird, and it's just...
He can't talk.
You can't take him seriously as an actor, whereas in that, it's... I would put that on... if we were drafting best supporting actor roles of all time, performances of all time, I think Val Kilmer in Tombstone should make the top 10 shortlist.
Yeah. Actually, I don't think I can disagree. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of movies we're forgetting, but off the top of my head, it's just he's just so good.
No, he steals the show. And then also when his commitment, the sweating and stuff was real, he was making himself uncomfortable. So
he actually gave himself TB.
Yeah. That's why his face looks weird now. Years of TB will do that to you.
That's funny. But yeah, that's about all I've got.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Well, I guess with that, we'll call it a wrap. Talk to you later.
See ya.
See ya.